Hello people and welcome to this tutorial series on Crusader Kings 2. What I'm going to do is a complete startup tutorial, how you want to start playing, what you want to start playing, and how to just get into the game. Because this is quite a complicated game to get into when you just start it, just look at it and you just think like, what the hell am I supposed to do? So that's what I'm going to do today. So to start off, what is Crusader Kings 2? Crusader Kings 2 is a grand strategy game from Paradox Interactive, where you basically play any nation in, well, Europe and the Middle East, and it's all about, you don't play as like the nation itself, you play as a dynasty. So I'm playing as the O'Brien dynasty here, and you'll start off as a character, you'll die, and you will start playing as your heir. And the game only ends if you hold no more land or if your entire dynasty has died off. So without further ado, I'm going to explain like just this main screen. This is the screen where you'll be playing in mostly, and I'm just going to explain everything here, what it is, where you want to look at. So when you start playing, you actually start in the terrain map mode. This isn't this looks nice, but it isn't really helpful. You don't really see the borders very well, and it's hard to see how big everything is and what you want to do. So what you want to do is go to the independent realm map mode, and this is just a lot better to look at. It's easy to see, like this is France, the Holy Roman Empire. Everything is clear and easy. So these are all the different types of map modes. So you have your diplomatic map mode, your religion map mode, everything you would want to see on the map you can see by hitting one of these options. But you don't actually have to do anything with them for now. You just want to be in the independent realms map mode, which will show every independent realm as it says. So this is the easiest way, this is the main way I play, like in this map mode. I do switch, but you'll start using other map modes when you get a little bit better at the game. So the next thing I'm going to explain is this at the top right hand, and this is basically your basic overview of how you're doing. So you have the date, which it is, and if you click on it you actually start the game, because this game is in real time, but you can pause it, and that's basically how you play most often. You can play it in just base speed, or you can speed it up and every time something happens pause it, like you're playing more of a turn-based game like Civilization 5. So then you have a few numbers here, and what do they do? So we're going to start off with gold, and this is basically your currency, what you use to pay for things, for your armies, to buy buildings, to bribe people, to send gifts. This is what you use, your gold. Then you have your prestige, and your prestige does a few things. If you have a really high prestige, you get a small diplomatic opinion bonus with other people. So they'll like you better because they think, well, he's a lot of prestige. They really look up to you and stuff like that. So you get a little opinion bonus. And the other thing that prestige does, together with piety, when you die, these two numbers combine and become your score. So since I just started playing with a new character, no one has died yet. No one I have played has died yet. So I don't have any score. So when I die, I would now get 47 score. And your score is the indicator of how well you're doing. This game doesn't really have a set victory condition. It's more you set your own goals. So, and score represents how well you've done. So at the end of the game, all your score is combined and you get a ranking, or you see like which house in the Middle Ages you beat. And so you can indicate for yourself a bit how well have I done. But if you play a full game and you become a king, most often you just top the charts. But that's what score is. And you can use prestige for one other thing, and that's for options, decisions, or events where you can lose or gain prestige. and you sometimes need to spend prestige to enforce a new option, to create a new kingdom, stuff like that. That's what prestige does, and then piety is a bit the same, except I do think you get a little opinion bonus. It adds to your score, and you spend it in some events, although prestige is more important than piety in my opinion. The next thing you'll see is demise size. What this does is it's how many holdings you can hold directly. So your demise is basically what do you have control over. So now I only have the demise. I only have this one county, and I have the title of a petite king. So this is basically a duchy, but because I'm independent, I call myself a king. And that's now my demise actually only counts for the counties I hold. So I hold one county, which is my demise. I can hold up to 3 counties. That's my limit. If you go over that, you can't really govern it. That's the underlying idea, that you can't govern more than 3 counties at this point. And your maximum demise size is based on a few things. As you see, your ruler stewardship stat, which I'll get to later, and your legalism, and this is basically what rank you are. A king can hold more than a petite king or a duchy, a duke. I'm sorry. So that's basically your demise size, and then you have your realm size, and this is basically everything you hold, directly or indirectly, because everyone has vassals. So here I have, this is one of my vassals, Earl Ragnevald of Ormond, and he is under my control, but I don't control it directly. And this counts everything you have. So, and that's your realm size. It's basically how big you are. It shows how big you are. And then your score, as I explained, it's an indicator of how well you're doing. And your score is basically the piety and prestige of all your former characters combined at the time of their deaths. So the next thing we're going to look at is this. These are your notifications. These are things the game thinks are important and you should know and act upon. So our ruler isn't married yet, our heir isn't married yet, we can pick an ambition, and we have a de jure claim. I'm going to get into them a little bit later when we're going to start playing, because these notifications are the first thing we want to work through when we start. These are basically all your options, all your other screens you can go to, like your council, technology, and I forgot to disable this hint, but technology, laws, council, military, intrigue, factions, and religions. Again, I'm going to talk about every single one of them a little bit later, and a few of them in other parts. So what we're now going to do is start playing. Well, start preparing to play, because we want to do a few things before we unpause. We're going to go through these decisions. What we want to do is marry, because we do have an heir, but we always want a few extra backup heirs so our dynasty doesn't die out. And another thing, if you marry, you gain more of these stats. But before I'm going to confuse the hell out of you, I'm going to explain this character screen. So this screen, you get the screen by any character in the game. You can choose yourself, your heir, some random emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. So it basically tells you everything about that character. So we're going to start off with our own character, and I'm going to explain the big things about this screen. So first of all, you have choose an ambition. What this is a goal for yourself. If you accomplish it, you get a few bonuses. You see, you have a lot of different goals you can choose, and well, there are all reasons why you can choose these goals, but I'm not going to go into all of them. You can see which goals you can choose, and well, you pick the ones you think you can accomplish, you want to accomplish. So then you have conduct diplomacy. This basically goes towards your diplomacy screen, where you have all your diplomatic options, but I'm going to get into that later as well. You just want to know where this is for. You of course have your wife and your heir. So your heir is your, most of the time, your oldest son, or the person who's going to inherit your titles and who you're going to play as next. And well, now I'm not married, but if I would choose a married character, like this guy, you see his wife. You can go to her own screen. This just shows that this is his current wife. Then, well, we have the arrange marriage button. If you click that, you can choose a wife to marry, which we are going to do, but first I'm going to explain the rest of this. If your titles and claims, and titles are basically your holdings, the things you hold directly, and the titles you have because of that. So I hold the County of Dortmund, so I have the title, the County of Dortmund. It's basically what you have, and I have the Petite Kingdom of Munster, which means I have the Duchy of Munster. And then your claims are things, well, counties or titles you think you deserve to own, and you have a strong reason why you should own them, so you can go to war over them. We are going to talk about war in the next part, but that's all you need to know for now. Then you have, here is your dynasty. So we are the O'Brien dynasty, and you have a few things you can click on. You can click on your dynasty tree, which is everybody in your dynasty is in the dynasty tree, and you can just search through it, see who's still alive, what other branches there are of your dynasty, how well your other people are doing. I'm never really in the screen a lot, and it's not that important, but if you like it, you can go through any dynasty in the game and see everyone's parents, where everybody descended from, and that kind of stuff. But what is important in this screen is your dynasty prestige, because every member of your dynasty is born with a fraction of the dynasty prestige, and since prestige is quite important, it's nice to have a lot of dynastic prestige, but you'll gain this kind of automatically. You don't really have to do anything special to increase it. You can, but you don't have to, and when you start playing, I would highly recommend just to leave it alone. The next thing is your family tree. This is, well, just a family tree. You can go through the tree, see who your ancestors were, but again, this is not that important. You almost never are going to use it for anything practical, just for fun. And the last thing is important, your realm tree. This is everybody. This shows you as the top of your. If you have a liege, he will be the top, but just the independent guy, the top, the ruler of everything, at the top, and everybody below him. And it will also show a few other things like his holdings and the total levy of liege and the current levy. And this is really important because you can see how many troops you can raise. Okay, just taking a sip of water, but so how many troops you have, and you can also look at other people's realm tree. So you can see that this guy has 817 levies. This is basically the number of his army at his disposal. So this is really important. If you want to go to war, you're going to look if you have more troops and are strong enough to take that guy, which I'm going to go into further detail on later. But for now, we're going to continue. You see here your religion and your culture. So I'm an Irish Catholic, and what this does is it gives an opinion penalty to people of another religion and culture, and sometimes gives bonuses to people of the same religion and culture. So it's just based on opinion. The next thing you see here is where you are. This is your position. This is important when you place your council or want to if you can see where he's leading troops and stuff. You can just, where he is, and this is important if you're talking about other characters and want to try to plot or do other things with them. You want to know where they are. Then the next thing I'm going to talk about is this, your attributes. These are basically, it's a point system of how good you are in certain things, like diplomacy, your martial, stewardship, intrigue, and learning. And I'm going through every single one of them and tell you what they do. So diplomacy increases the prestige you gain per month. And, slightly. it also increases the opinion other people have of you, other people's opinion of you. So it's really important if you have a big realm with a lot of vassals and you are trying to keep their opinions of you high. It's important to have a good diplomacy score. Then you have your marshal. Oh yeah, what it also does is it increases your technology gain in your cultural advances. So, well, I'm not going to talk about in depth about technology just yet. I'm just going to talk. You just need to know that you have cultural advances, economic advances, and military advances. So, well, diplomacy increases your cultural advances. The next thing you have is martial. This will increase your ability to lead troops. So if you're the leader of an army, it will make you more effective and you have a higher chance to win that battle. It increases this and decreases the strength of your levies based on the score. If you have a high martial score, the strength of your levies is increased. If you have a low martial score, the strength of your levies is decreased. And lastly, it increases the military advances. So again, I'm going to talk about technology a little bit later, but you just need to know that it increases that when we're talking about it then. So stewardship increases your economic advances. It increases your demise size, which is really important because you want a big, strong demise, so you're stronger than your vassals. And as you see here, stewardship, the ruler stewardship bonus is +1. Then last thing it does is it increases your base taxes. It increases your taxes, the taxes you gain. And since taxes are your main income, that's really good because you have more money. You can spend it. You can buy more mercenaries, buy more buildings. It's just good to have high diplomacy and stewardship. If you have a big realm, need a lot of money, and want to have a good opinion. Then you have intrigue, and this. So what intrigue does is it decreases the chance other people discover you when you're plotting. And a plot is basically when you're plotting, you're planning something bad to happen to someone else. So you're trying to steal a county from him, or you're trying to assassinate him, that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about intrigue and plotting a little bit later again. We're going to do this step based, but you just want to know what these stats are for. What it also does is it increases your plot power, and that's basically the chance you have your plot will succeed. So if you're trying to assassinate somebody, if you have a lot of plot power, you have a much bigger chance that he will die than if you have almost no plot power. And the last thing it does is it decreases the chance of other people that are plotting against you. So it's really important if you want to stay alive and you don't want people to be able to manipulate events around you. You have a high intrigue, and we have a abysmal intrigue here, but we'll get to that later. Then the last thing you have is learning, and this will increase all your technological advances, and it will increase the piety you gain per month. I always think learning is like the least important skill you have because you don't really have that much direct effects of it. It's more an overtime benefit, but you do not want to neglect it. So yeah, how do you gain these numbers, and what are these other numbers that you see here? Well, the numbers are your base value, which is always 6, and then plus or minus what your traits give you. And I'm going to talk about traits a little bit later, but that are these things over here. This number that you see on the right is your state diplomacy. So that's your diplomacy plus the diplomacy of your council, plus half the diplomacy of your wife. But we don't have that now because we don't have a wife, and that's one of the reasons why wives are important. Then how do you increase or decrease your stats? Well, that's if you're under 8, you can increase them by an ambition. As you see, we can improve stewardship, learning, or intrigue. And what this does is it starts a chain of events that will try to increase the stat you chose. If I would have chosen to increase my stewardship, I would get all kinds of events that give me traits to increase my stewardship, or just increase the stewardship if I complete them. which is really handy. It's really handy to increase them, and you get a bonus if you complete the ambition as of all ambitions. So it's useful to start with the high ones like learning and stewardship, because you only need to get them up to 8. And when you're under 8, you get a chance to choose that ambition. Another way is to gain or lose traits. And there are 3 kind of traits, and how I like to call them: you have your standard traits, just your normal traits, the ones that come and go throughout the game that you can influence really easily. And you have your educational traits. These are basically traits that you can't lose. You gain them by the kind of teacher. So we're a tough soldier because we were educated by a soldier, and it's basically our background, what we learned when we were a kid. And you can educate people if you educate them with a person who has tough soldier. They're likely to get tough soldier, a better one, because they rank. You have tough soldier, but at the very highest you have brilliant tactician, and the lowest you have well, I don't know, but you just rank them. You can see that by the 2 pluses under this shield, or if you have another education, somebody with another education, you can see 2 pluses under this little sword, because he's a schemer. That's somebody who's been taught by somebody who's good in intrigue. So that are your educational traits, and the last one you have are your genetic traits. And genetic traits are something you want to watch out for and to look out for. I'm just going to really quick look one up. Oh, let's see. We have stutter. So you can see it by the little hearts. And genetic traits pass down to your children. So if I would have married this girl with stutter, well, if she was a little bit older, and we would have had a child, he has a chance to also have stutter. And there are good genetic traits like strong and brilliant and a genius. And you have bad ones like stutter, you have inbred, all kinds of stuff like that. You really don't want to have a bad trait when you marry, because they pass down to your children and you'll have a lot of problems down the line. And how do you see if they're good or bad? I don't think there's a good one in this list. There most often isn't at the start of the game. No, so you see it by the kind of heart. So with stutter, it's a little purple heart, which means it's bad. If you have a little green heart, it means it's good. Then, so that are basically your 3 kinds of traits. And if you want to see what a trait does, you can just hold your mouse on it and you can see if it's good. And here, your chase. You see actually minus 15% fertility, and this leads nicely into the next thing I want to say. There are 2 hidden attributes, and this is your health. So how healthy you are, if you have a higher number of that, and you can't see that in game, but if you would go out of game and have the Ruler Designer DLC, you can actually affect them there. But so your health is how likely you are to die, and if you have a high health, it's good, a low one is bad. And your fertility. And your fertility is basically how likely you are to have children. I think you have a base chance of 50, so minus 15% is quite high. It's quite high to lose. So this character has a lower chance to have children than somebody who doesn't have the chase trait. And you can also increase fertility by an ambition. It never says so, but if you choose the ambition to have a son or a daughter, you get a plus 15% fertility bonus. So yeah, that are basically traits. This is basically our screen. I have gone through everything I want to go through right now except for this. You have this little star right here. This means that it's your character. You can also have the crown, which means it's your heir. You can have another little icon, which means it's your wife. And you can have this blood drop. This means it's a close relative. And you get actually a few events which have to do with close relatives, and they want stuff from you. But we'll get to that once we get to that in game, because it's easier to explain with a few examples of that. So what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to start to prepare to play. So that sentence might put you off a bit, because I said we're going to start to prepare to play. But you just have to do a few things before you hit this play button. And the first time you play, you of course need to figure everything out. There is a tutorial, but it's not that great. So we're just going to start with these notifications here. And the first thing you want to do is, of course, to get married. It's really easy, it's really fast, but before we do that, we pick the ambition to get married, because we get a little bit of a piety bonus, which is always nice. And it's really easy to get married really fast. You just click on the arrange marriage button, and you get every girl that you could marry. So you can also select like where you want to rank them on, like dynasty, culture, realm, age. But most of the time you want to actually rank them on the stats. So I want a high diplomacy stat to boost my diplomacy, and then I'm just going to look at the other stats, and best one with a good age I'm going to take. So the two things you want to watch out for are those genetic traits. I don't want somebody with stutter or anything. I want someone with a good genetic trait. And I'm always watching out for them, but there's none of them in this list. So I'm just going to choose them based on their skills. So a high diplomacy, they have a high martial, a low stewardship, a high intrigue, and a high learning skill. This is a fantastic wife. She's 24. And the second thing you want to watch out for is age, because over the age of 45, she will not be able to get any children with you. And well, if you have a small dynasty and you marry somebody over the age of 45 and you don't know that, it can end your dynasty and you can actually lose the game. So you never want to marry anybody above 45 if you still want to have children. I'm just going to marry her. And then we get to the diplomacy screen. And this is quite an easy screen because, well, the options you can take are blue and the ones you can't are grayed out. If you want to know why you can't take them, you can just hold it. You can just hold your mouse over them and you see which things you don't have yet. So if I wanted to declare war on him, I needed a casus belli, which is basically you need to have a claim, a reason to go to war. Otherwise you can't go to war. Well, I'm going to talk a bit more about it in the next video when we're going to talk about warfare. I can send him a gift because I can do this, but I can't assassinate him because I don't have the money. I can arrange marriage, and actually all these options, well, they explain themselves. They're self-explanatory. So the next thing you want to watch out for is matrilineal marriage. If you are a male, you don't want to hit this box, because what it does is any child you and your wife have will be of her dynasty. If your entire male line of succession died out, or you are for some reason playing a female, you will want to do this because you want to continue your dynasty, not his. But if you play a male, never hit this box. You never want to do that under no circumstances. So we're just going to hit marry, and now we're sending a diplomat towards him, so it will take a little while before he gets there and gets back. So we will need to wait for his reply. When we start the game, we'll get it fast enough. So the next thing we want to do is marry our heir by the same system. I'm just going to click on a high diplomacy skill. She's 18, has nice stats, no bad generic stats, and not matrilineal. So I'll send another diplomat to the Danish king to marry him. Next thing we want to do is appoint our council, or actually give them a job to do. And our council are our advisors. We can give them tasks to do, and it's really important that you always have them doing something, because otherwise you will not be playing most efficiently. So I'm just going to go through every single one of them, and every one actually represents a stat. So our chancellor represents our diplomatic stat, marshal our martial stat. It's basically it's quite logical, and you always want the person with the highest in that stat. So for now we have the right one. You almost always have at the start of the game with the highest diplomatic skill, so he's most likely to succeed in any task I give him. So what can you let them do? So for the chancellor, you can improve diplomatic relations, which you can place anywhere on the map within range. This is a new thing in the DLC that just came out, Rise of India. You can't just place him in the Byzantine Empire if you're in Ireland. But he will improve the relations of the owner of that title, or people who actually are there. So if I would place him in the capital of England, right over here, then he would try to improve the improve your diplomatic his opinion. Wow, I'm sorry. I should have said his opinion of you. He's trying to improve his opinion of you, but also of the people who own this barony. So that would be this guy over here. But it's more likely that he will improve it of the lowers, but he will over time he will also improve the opinion of the highest ranking person in that county. So what do we want to do with him? Well, we can also send him within our realm, and we have a vassal. I'm going to talk a bit more about vassal management later, but you see he has a negative opinion of us, which is quite bad. We want him to have a positive opinion of us, so he will not try to kill us and try to rebel or anything like that. So what we're going to do is improve diplomatic relations with him. But before we do that, I'm going to explain the other two options you have. You also have fabricate claim. And again, you can place it anywhere on the map within range. And you do have a big range. I mean, I didn't think in the Middle Ages you could have started fabricating a claim somewhere in Hungary if you're in Ireland. But it's a game, so it's okay. So if I would want to have a claim on Connex, or a reason to go to war, you would go there, you would bribe people, forge documents to let it seem that I should own that county. And then I have a reason. I can say, look, I should own this county. I want this county. I'm going to go to war with the person who owns this county right now because I deserve it. And then you have sow dissent, and it's basically the opposite of this is basically it will lower the opinion of the person's liege. So in England, he has a lot of vassals. This guy here, if I would place him here, the vassal he has here, I would try to lower the opinion he has of his liege. So it's more likely he will rebel. It will weaken the English realm and stuff like that. That's something I don't use that often myself, but it can be really handy if you are trying to assassinate somebody, because they will join your plot quicker. And again, I'm going to get into plotting later. For now, that's all you have to know. So we're going to improve our diplomatic relations with our vassal here in Ormond. Then we're going to go to our marshal. What he can do is suppress a revolt, and it does exactly what it says. You have a bigger chance to arrest somebody when you try to arrest somebody within your realm, to place him there, and it will suppress a revolt. So every county has a revolt risk. Most often, if you have a good, well-balanced realm, it's 0. But you can get rebels in that county, and he will lower that chance, so they won't pop up. And it's really good if you really can't afford a rebellion right now. You see that a county has a 15% chance to rebel and stuff like that. 15% is quite high. You don't want them to rebel, and you can suppress them. Another thing you can do is train troops, which will basically increase. You can only place him in a county you own directly, and he'll train troops there. You'll have more levies. They'll replenish faster. Like that. And the last thing is research military technology, and this will just help your military advances and just gain faster technology. Exactly what it says. So what we're going to do is train troops, because we are a little nation. We want to train troops as fast as possible and take over Ireland. And I never explained, actually. Oh, damn it, shit. I never explained why we are playing in Ireland. I apologize for that. But Ireland is also called Newbie Island. It's the easiest place to start, because you will be left alone by the rest of the world most often. And you can just slowly take over all of Ireland. And then you have enough power to withstand some of the bigger powers. And you'll build it up. Like, if you play a large nation, you would say, oh, it's much more easy, I'm much more powerful, nobody will take me over. But you need to manage that entire realm. And it's a big, realm management is a big part of Crusader Kings 2. So your realm can easily fall apart when you're playing as the Holy Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, and you'll actually lose faster than if you're playing as tiny monster. So you build it, you slowly build it up to the point where you have a big realm, but you can manage it because you learn it slowly instead of just learning it all at once and having to do that from the start. So yeah, that's basically why we play Ireland, a bit late, but yeah, we'll continue with our steward now. So the next thing we want to do is collect. The next thing we want to do is place a steward. What he can do is collect taxes, which will increase the income you gain from taxes, and he also has a chance to. All these things have chances to trigger events, which give you positive or negative stuff. Then you can oversee construction, which speeds up construction, and research economic tech. So we're going to collect taxes for the same reason as we're training troop. We're small. We want to have an army as big as possible and have as much income as possible. Later on, you might think it's more important to get more tech or construct buildings. We don't even have the money to really construct any good buildings right now. So we're not going to do it, so we don't need to use it. Next thing is going to be our spy master. And he can scheme. This is basically your defense against enemy plots. They will be discovered faster, so you can act on them, and it will lower the chance to succeed if you are scheming in this place where you are currently. So yeah, that's basically your defense. If you have everybody has a low opinion of you, you think they're going to try and assassinate you. You want to actually protect yourself with scheming. Build spy network is a bit of the offensive. It's a bit of offensive scheming. It will increase your plot, the chance that your plots will succeed. It will increase your assassination chance, and you can blackmail the people there and stuff like that. And then you have study technology, which is basically you're going to try to steal tech from other people. And you always wanted to place it in Constantinople, but since the range, Rome is a good candidate for this. And because we don't have a lot of tech, we're a small nation, we want to get tech, so we place him here. Another thing you need to watch out from in your council is that they do have a good opinion of you, because they are people who have a lot of plot power against you, so can easily assassinate you. And overall they do have, only your our spy master hates us. Well, he doesn't hate us, he doesn't like us, which is quite bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him an honorary title. This doesn't really do anything but higher the opinion of him, and we're going to give him Master of the Horse, to give him an opinion boost of 10. So he's at least in positive, and we're going to send him a gift. So he'll start liking us a bit more, and we don't have a big chance to die, like right now. So yeah, next thing we're going to do is place our court chaplain, and then you have proselytize. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but you'll have to excuse me for that. Which is basically is going to try and convert people to another religion. As you can see, everything around us is Catholic, so we don't really need to use that right now. But if you would have a different religion within your realm, you would want to convert it to your religion by using this option. Then you have the other thing he can do is research cultural tech, which increases cultural technology rate. So yeah, it actually explains itself. And improve religious relationship. It's basically the same as improving diplomatic relations, but then with religious people like the Pope or your court's bishops or your other bishops beneath you. So you can also like place it anywhere on the map within range. I do need to get used to that. But you most likely want to use this on the Pope or any bishop within your realm. But for now, it's not really useful to do any of these two, so we're going to do research cultural tech. And let's place them right here. So yeah, we've placed our council, we have married, we've done everything we need to start off with. So this is going to be the end of this video. If you have any questions of something I didn't explain correctly, I didn't explain well enough, please leave a comment and I'll be sure to answer you. The next video we're going to talk about warfare and technology. We're going to expand on what we know right now, and I want to thank you very much for watching, and